social media, all it takes nowadays to spark up an online fight is to merely have an opinion. One opinion will cause many to spiral into a pit hole of anger where no one dialogues, only insults the person who has the unpopular or even the popular opinion regarding the latest trends in comic books, movies, or pulp culture. It makes sense given the circumstance. After all, acting tough behind the protective wall of the black mirror we all own and use on a daily basis makes it easy for anyone to jump right into a tirade of insults and threats. Again, just for having an opinion that they may disagree with. I decided to go against that notion. I've decided to start a video series where we discuss the hot topic issues within the comic book industry and pulp culture and provide you with another perspective. One of logic, reason, with just plain old dialogue between two people who have different opinions. My co-host and I will discuss the pulp culture topics at hand in a fun, engaging, and respectable manner. So, without further ado, let's talk about it. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of Let's Talk About It. With me, as always. So, go ahead, Kyle. I'm sorry.
You just messed
I'm
it
sorry.
up
I'm sorry.
time.
My mind went haywire just now. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Always with
I'm
me.
Kyle. Kyle.
And special guest. Welcome back to the show, Draw and Talk. Tyler. What's up, Tyler?
Howdy. Can you guys hear me?
Oh.
We're good?
Yeah, we can hear you. For a second there, I thought we lost you.
Yeah.
Me too. I was like, oh, crap.
Again, we have a high production budget show here.
Always. Before we get started on the topic of the show, Kyle, did you pick up anything this week? Also, this also applies to you, Tyler. If you picked up any comic books this week, and if you did, what did you pick up?
Well, let's see. I didn't pick up much. I just got this short mini series, but it's a very famous mini series.
Oh.
It is by Frank Miller, 300.
Oh, nice, dude.
It's the whole set, all 5 issues, I believe, is in there. Yeah.
Very cool, dude.
This one was one where it's like I watched the movie first, and I haven't read the book, but I heard that like the book is like almost like the movie's like a 1-to-1 to the book.
Pretty much.
So
yeah.
I would like to read the book and see, and the issues and where if there is any differences between them. But I love the movie, and I thought that it was pretty cool, and so I'm like, yeah, well, might as well pick up the issues. It was a pretty good price that I got it at, so I'm happy with it.
If you don't mind me asking, what was the price?
I paid $50 for the set.
50. Ah, nice, dude.
So
very nice.
Yep. And so I'm happy. I'm looking forward to reading them. But that's it. Like again, I'm trying not to spend a ton because San Diego Comic-Con's like right down the corner, right around the corner. So it's
got a budget.
I know. It's like, do I really want to get this stuff now, or know that I'm going to buy a bunch of stuff at San Diego? And so I'm going to save my money for that.
Very good. Smart move. Tyler, did you pick up anything this week, comic book wise?
I didn't pick up anything, but I read a shit ton of comics on Global Comics.
Oh, okay, cool. What was the one? What was the standout that you read?
I read a shit ton of Batman. Because a lot of their DC books were leaving the platform July 1st, and then they put like new ones on there, and so I was reading Batman Eternal. I reread the Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo run, even though like I have them like on my bookshelf.
Oh, right. Is that the New 52 run?
The New 52 run, like that was what got me into comics. Like that was my first comic book. Yeah. And so like when people are like, oh, the New 52 was a failure, and I'm like, because it rebooted and was trying to get people in there, and I was like, well, I got me. I was one of those new readers that reboot got. So yeah. So I reread that run, and then I tried reading some of the Black Label stuff. Like Jock did his own Batman thing. It was alright. It was alright. It was all right. Yeah, that's what I read.
Okay, well, I picked up a few books this week. One of them being Vatican City issue 3, and Aliens versus Avengers. Picked that one up, and then of course Battle Beast number 2. Aliens versus Avengers is phenomenal. Like, that was a great ending to that short storyline. So if you guys have not checked out Avengers versus Aliens, I highly recommend that book, especially if you're fans of I guess high concept sci-fi, because Jonathan Hickman's really good. He shines, in my opinion, when he writes sci-fi, and he really
better. Yeah, he took like a whole year to write 4 issues. So it's
almost, but it's worth it. It was worth the wait. It really was worth the wait. That's what I picked up. Hopefully you guys who are watching also picked up a few comic books. And again, we always encourage you guys to check out comics and read comics, both indie and corporate owned, because that's what we're here for, right? We're here for comics and having a good time. So, but tonight's episode is going to be an interesting one, because it's a topic that's kind of it's funny when I go on my Twitter page and I see my timeline, and on occasion you have our guest here, Tyler, sometimes post stuff on X about marketing and promoting, and a lot of the times he gets a lot of pushback from it because of it. And for me, I understand that this is a business at the end of the day, and as much as I pour my heart and soul into my stories, and I take my art seriously, I still at the end of the day understand and realize that we are in a business, and in business, if you don't get the what do you call it? The box office or the funds for the sales that you get for your books, then it's gonna be hard for you to continue on going, because you kind of need that revenue coming in to keep on pushing out your books and your content. So I thought who better to talk about this than Tyler, which is who I asked to come on, because he's the only one that I've seen so far. I'm sure there's a lot of them out there, but I have not seen them on my timeline, because obviously my reach is not as far and wide. He's the only one that I've seen that's always talking about it and how important it is. So that's why I asked him to be on here, so he could share his thoughts and also to discuss the importance of marketing and promoting your own books, and given the fact that we live in a new, I guess, age of pretty much accessibility worldwide. All you have to do is just sign up to a Facebook, a YouTube, a Twitter, a Blue Sky, whatever. And that's a global reach, potentially, depending on how far you want to go. But that's a great opportunity for a lot of indie creators who are starting now to get to work and start up going. But Tyler, what can you start us out with? What made you want to push and pursue the marketing side of things? What was it that kind of made you go like, oh, you know what? I'm going to push for this because it's important. What was it?
Yeah. So like my origin story into marketing is actually like, I'm trying to fix my microphone. It's all around comics. So like I went to college to study journalism. I wanted to write for a newspaper. I wanted to do all that cool stuff. It was during the 2016 election, which was like so fun. And
not contentious at all.
Yeah, not contentious at all.
Yeah.
And I realized like as I was getting closer to graduate, I was like, I don't think I want to do market. I don't want to do journalism, but I don't know really what I want to do. And luckily I had some things that like I had some like bad things happen to me. Like the first bad thing was I was on a full ride scholarship drawing like Trump cartoons in the newspaper. Like they were like, hey, if you can draw Trump cartoons and write opinion articles, more on like the conservative side, since it was a very liberal newspaper, we'll pay for your schooling. So I said, yeah, absolutely, I can do that. And one of my articles went kind of viral and I lost my scholarship. That seems like
that's the opposite effect.
Yeah. So okay, so I lost half my scholarship. It was total BS. And luckily I had this guy going, hey, listen, I think it's really BS that you lost half your scholarship. However, the school is going to let me start this like media side of the newspaper. And if you join it, I can get you that other half of your scholarship, but you're going to have to learn how to podcast and video. And I was like, I don't know how to do any of that, but sure. Like I want to get that full ride back.
Right.
So like I took some of the worst videos that school's probably ever seen, and I set up like the worst podcast studio. But I like learned how to do that. And then at the time I was also making comics, and I had a series called Demons, and it was with a small indie publisher. We were probably putting out an issue at that point, like every 2 months. And I'd been doing it for a year and a half. I was getting like around $200, $300 like every release. So I was like, this is great. And I was just like, well, yeah, the publisher's going to do everything for me. And one day the publisher sent a message to everyone that says, hey, I'm done. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I'm folding. And so I was like, okay, hey, like I'm on issue 13 of my series. We're ending on issue 15. Like we're on the final, like the finale of this story I've been working on for the last 2 years. Like, who are these customers that have been buying my books so that I can contact them and say, hey, here's issues 14 and 15 that we can end. And he goes, yeah, I'm not going to give you those emails. And I was like, okay, so that sucks. And it made me realize, okay, so I don't have a platform. I've spent 2 years making comics. I don't have a platform. I don't have any customers that are like truly my own. And I'm now back at zero. And so what happened was I was like, okay, I got to learn how to like do this stuff. Luckily I had a friend whose dad was like, hey, like, what do you think of this like really shitty energy drink that my company's making? I drank it and I was like, oh, this is gross, but he's like, how would you market it? What do the young kids want? So I gave him some ideas. He gave me a job at his company. No one had me do anything. I worked the first 2 months I was there just watching Netflix all day because everyone else was watching Netflix. And by the time
like a great job.
No, it was awful. No, dude, it was awful. You can watch an entire season of Daredevil in one day, and then you watch an entire season of Daredevil the next day, and then the next season of Punisher, and then you go, wow, I just went through the entire Netflix Marvel thing in a week. So what happened, like after those 2 months, I was like, you know what? I should just spend this time. If no one's gonna monitor what I do, I should just like start YouTubing how to like learning how to market my comics. So that's what like started happening is I started learning about email lists and blogs, how to start like a website, how to like create YouTube videos. And I would basically use my job as like the time to learn everything. And then when I get home, I would try to start doing it all. And what was great is as I was learning it and then doing it at home for my comics, I was actually able to take some of those skills into like back to my job. And now I have a career in marketing where I run a marketing company helping other companies do that. But it's all because I have a marketing career because I went, oh my gosh, I need to learn how to market my comic. So that's my origin of marketing.
Now, do you love doing that, or is this just something that just kind of part of the whole package of being an indie creator when it comes to marketing and promoting your stuff?
At first, I hated it. I was like, this sucks. I just want to draw. I just want to write. I don't know why like people just can't look at my stuff and be like, oh yeah, here's $1 bajillion. That's what
we all want, you know?
Exactly. And as I started learning more marketing things, it started to get a little more enjoyable. And what really clicked was I eventually got a job at a book publisher. And they paired me with this other guy who's like 15 years older than me, who's now my business partner. And they were like, hey, you guys have 3 months to get our sales from like $1,000 a month to $10,000 a month. And so we're like, okay, sounds good. And what happens after that 3 months? They're like, you lose your jobs. So we're like, okay, so like that sucks. So
that's really put your feet under the fire there, huh? It's like,
yeah. But after those 3 months, on month 4, we'd hit we hit like $50,000 in revenue, and by the end of the year we had done over $1 million, and eventually like we had brought in for that company probably around like $8 to $10 million for that book publisher. And that's kind of when things started clicking with me on marketing and comics. Is I could see like, okay, this is how things work in this particular industry. Like comics and books, like comics and like novels and nonfiction, they're a little different, but they're still actually kind of the same. The margins suck. You have to worry about print orders. Like the sales trends are basically the same. And so I started enjoying it when I learned from this guy how to connect all the marketing dots. So like at first I was just having to learn on my own. He had all this experience and was like, hey, you have all these pieces. This is how you connect them. And when we connected them, all of a sudden we're doing millions of dollars a year. And I go, oh crap, I can slowly start implementing this into my own business. And then all of a sudden I start seeing more money in my Draw and Talk business.
Wow.
So then it's safe to say it's very important to market and promote your stuff. Is that like okay? Let me ask you this next question then. How much of a percentage work-wise does it involve? Should it take up 90% of your time when you start promoting a book, especially when you're done and completed and you're ready to sell it into the market? Or is it a balance? What exactly do you think would entail for something to find, I guess, some kind of success, whatever you decided to pursue?
I think I don't think it's necessarily a time thing. It's more so, do you have a strategy that's going to work better for you? So like you posting on Instagram all day, every day, if that's just not working, it doesn't matter how much time you spend on it. It's just not gonna work. The big thing that I learned when I was working at the book publisher, and I haven't seen it, no one's convinced me that there's any other way to make money in books, is there's only two ways to make money in books, and you have to do the second one no matter what. The first way to make money in books is you have to just have some slam dunk hit. I'm talking like a Harry Potter, where it just is so viral, it's so sensational, it's the top 0.1% of books, and that you just get money from it. So like, and if you can't get that, which most people won't, then the only other way.
Harry Potter's books are all over the place.
It's easy, man. I can do. I'm trying it with my own witch books, my own wizarding books. And then the second way is to continue making more books. Like, I remember going to an author trying to like get her to work with us as a publisher. And I'm like, hey, I see that you do like indie publishing, which is like kind of gay. You should work for an established publisher. And she's like, yeah, so this is my Amazon check I made last year. It was $1.7 million. And I went, yeah, that's so crazy. You shouldn't be anywhere near us. And then I was there, instead of like trying to persuade her, I was like, can you tell me how you do this? And she was just like, she showed me all of her friends too, because all of her friends, they all make stupid money. They all just share their checks. Like, she's like, here's my group chat of 20 friends. They're like, I made 200,000 this month. Oh, I made 100,000. I was just like, oh my gosh, dude, get me in this group chat. And she said the thing that is consistent with every single one of those people in the indie scene is that they keep putting out more books, because you might not make a ton of money on book one, but you can make more. You can make money by releasing book two, and then book one will obviously get some sales, and as you keep going, you're gonna make more money. And so for me, I think it's important for indies to have a balance. Like, first off, just can't ask yourself, how many books can I make, and how long is it going to take me to make those books? Because if you're going to make money via your back catalog, then you either can go, okay, I can make X amount of books this year, so I can do if I know I can make 5 or 6 books this year, then each of those books only have to hit this much, so I can stay afloat and keep doing this and have enough money to make the next book. If you're maybe a writer who has to hire artists, you have to go, okay, so this book has to really pay for the next like 1 to 2. So like when you're a writer, you have to have more wins than say a writer artist or than a writer artist. So like for me, I'm a writer artist. I could make $0 on a book and then like not be able to hire any artists, and I can still I can still continue to make comics because I can always draw them at the end of the day. Whereas for a writer, if they drop $5 to $7 grand on a book and they don't make that money back, they could just be out of the game completely. And so I think when it comes to then marketing, you just have to figure out how you balance it based off of where you are. And I think that's a big problem with kind of the marketing discussions, is that there's a lot of context that are missed, where if a writer is like, oh, I'm doing all this marketing stuff, it's a little different. Like me and this writer are going to have completely different experiences in marketing our comics. The writer's obviously going to have a lot tougher time, because their experiences, they're playing high stakes poker. If they lose, they're out. And for me, I can put in enough chips to get enough. I can keep playing, if that makes sense. So how much time should you spend in marketing? I would say first look at how many books you can put out a year, and then go, okay, how much time now can I spend on marketing, and create a good strategy on that.
So it really does rely heavily on a good strategy, and not so much overexposure, but an actual strategy that involves should it be integrate to the genre of your book that you're putting out, or is it all across the board? That's a hard marketing strategies.
That's a hard one. That's a really hard one. So like when we talk about marketing, we'll talk about like the ideal customer profile, which is like who is your audience. And I always like I tend to give a really bad analogy, but I'll give it to this one because I would never do this. But if let's say your book is a fantasy book and you're like, Tyler, how would I market my fantasy book? I would say, okay, what does your ideal customer profile look like of the person who will read your fantasy book? And if it's like high fantasy or something, then they're probably going to like Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, any book by Brandon Sanderson. So I would start, what's the easiest way to like garner those fans? I'll probably start making content around those things. Like who would win a fight, Aragorn or Daenerys Targaryen with no dragons? And like, and like funnel those people. And then I would bring in those people to my YouTube channel, my Twitter, and then I try to get them on a mailing list. And then I would try to be like, also, that I also am a writer and I also create these things. And that's like maybe like 10% of what I'm talking about, but most of it is letting them like just trying to funnel these fans from other things, and then eventually tell them about my book, and maybe you convert like 5 to 10% of those people, but at least you've garnered your House of Fantasy fans. The problem where that lies then is what happens if you want to do a sci-fi book.
Right.
And to me, that's when you go, okay, like you kind of you either have to be okay with pivoting and like losing some, or your strategy becomes, okay, I want to do your audience is then people who like stories of heroic beings, and like then you talk about sci-fi, like nerd more, you broaden it to more nerd shit like Lord of the Rings, Star Wars. So for me, like my books, probably the most common thing is Japanese anime manga girls that fight. So okay. that's kind of like what connects them all, is that there's going to be an anime girl, they fight, there's fighting in there, and there's like a fun story. So that's how I've got to do my marketing. Now, by the way, I do very bad with my marketing on my Draw and Talk channel. I do really bad on my Draw. Like I had to start another YouTube channel last year because I was like, this Draw and Talk channel is hopeless. People just want to see me fight with people.
Ironic.
That's a good point that you bring up, because back to your point, that Draw and Talk channel that you're mentioning, that's the audience that you built, that you cultivated for that channel. And now they expect it. That's that when Cal and I decided to do this channel, we're thinking about the strategy. How can we grow our channel? How can we get more people to come on? And I told them what I want to cultivate is I want to have a channel where we discuss things and not be total drama, because although drama farming, as they call it, can bring you numbers quickly. The problem with that is that now the audience that you've acquired expects that from you going forward.
And God forbid you have an opinion that doesn't side with them at one point.
Yeah, and I always see it. Yeah, time and time again, they always turn. They always turn on the host because they're
loose.
They're loose. Exactly.
They're loose. My biggest regret is on my Draw and Talk channel is that I focused probably 7 years worth of content on talking about marketing with creators, because like that was what I was into, and it was in like that's easy to build, like it's easy to find and talk to creators.
Wait, why was that a problem?
Because I should have been marketing to readers. They're
gotcha.
Like I'm like no one, like if I make a video that says how to market your comic book, creators are going to read that, not readers. Right. When we're talking about the 5 tips that Sean Gordon Murphy posts on Instagram, like that's a creator thing. Whereas when I do a video called like I read this webtoon and it changed my life, readers are gonna watch that. And I had a good I shouldn't have listened to this person. I had like 6 months where I was making I like kind of deleted all my videos, and then I just started doing this reader content, and I was getting very like low views at first. And I eventually got to a point where I could hit like 5 to 10K every video. If I talked about a book I was reading. And then I mean, I have so much respect for this creator, which is why I listen to them, but I shouldn't. He was like, yo, you've got to get your opinion out on this drama thing. And I just went like, I was like, dude, I haven't done something like this in 6 months. He goes, yeah, but like your insight would be so good on it. And I listened to it, which then sucked me into drama. Someone made a retaliation video, so then I had to make a retaliation video, and then live shows. It derailed everything.
Go and then go and then go.
Yeah, dude. I look at parts of my YouTube channel. I go, that was the golden era right there, and then I derailed it. And it's my fault. And since then, I haven't really like I've tried. Like I've tried to redo it, but I'm just at a different point in my life. So. Yeah.
Well, so do you think, like, taking into account all that stuff, that like, do you think it's possible to get to like a very high status and in content creating without having like a personal image that's shown to like almost like you're anonymous to everybody and you're just letting your work speak for itself? Or is it something like, if you're going to go and create your own stuff, like create your own books, it's required to have your own presence shown to everybody?
How would you do it anonymously? I guess your name's not on the book, like no one's promoting it. I mean,
I guess, yeah, like to an extent, I guess I would think of like maybe like not not promoting yourself more, and just promoting this, what the book is, and only the book type of thing. Not necessarily like, okay, yeah, I'm bringing in, I'm not bringing in the fans and stuff like that for me, and then everybody like me, and then once everybody likes me, then I'll say go and read my book. Instead, it's like read my book, I'm nobody, just read my book.
Yes, you just like at that point.
Did you try that with your mask persona, Tyler?
Bro,
being that bad?
Get this person out of here. They're exposing me.
Go ahead, Tyler. I have thoughts about that, but I want to hear. I want to hear what you think.
I've seen it. I have 100% seen it with creators where like I saw a creator and he did a vlog style. He goes, "Hey, like I'm making this book." I've seen 3 people on TikTok. They went massive viral. They said, "Hey, I'm making a manga. Come every single day and see a video of me of an update page." And they have 1 million followers on TikTok, and like it's all about them. They don't talk about anything they're reading. They don't talk about anything else except today I drew this page. Check it out. Yeah. And so I say yes.
That type of scenario. Yeah.
Yeah. So I say yes, it's possible. For me, when it comes to stuff, like I look at those as it would be so cool if I could get that. But if I can't, then I'm gonna go. I'm not gonna say an easier way, but like I want to be able to swing more. I want to be able to have more swings at bat, and have more like success maybe quicker. But like I said, there's this guy named Ethan on TikTok. His first video got 3 million views. He went, "Hey, I'm Ethan, and I'm gonna make my own manga. Here's a page of me drawing it." Goes viral. Another guy copies it. His name is Jacoby. Does the same thing. "Hey, my name's Jacoby." And the thing that I could only dissect was they were both doing it traditional art, because then I copied word for word their video, but I did it on my iPad, and I think people were like, "Bro, that's fake drawing." Or my art wasn't real.
Wait a minute. So these artists, they drew on paper when they showed themselves drawing the manga?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought for some reason I was picturing a tablet when you're describing.
Oh yeah, no, they were drawing traditionally, and like on TikTok, TikTok, it was cool because then you get some of the ASMR of the
right.
And so, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. And also like they're also like, to be fair, their art was like 1,000 times better than mine. So like they deserve that.
Do you draw traditionally, Tyler?
I can. I don't do it mostly out of a speed issue.
Okay.
But I can. And I enjoy it, by the way. I love drawing traditionally. I just choose. I
mean, it's fun. It's a lot of fun hearing the pencil rub against
the
paper.
Dude, I love having my fingers get like all inky, and
right. Yeah.
Like I like using a brush and a zebra brush pen, but no, I draw traditionally. I try this digitally. It's just faster. I'm very much of the commercial side of art things. I'm like, okay, how do I make this page look good and fast so I can keep pumping out stuff?
Gotcha, that makes sense. Yeah, Ollie says, it looks way better on camera drawn tradition.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's very satisfying.
It's really sexy. To watch. And they can use like those cool quill pens.
Yeah,
like, watch me, and they're like lighting it on fire, then sharpening it, and I'm like. Oh my gosh, that's sexy. To answer your question, Kyle,
why is this video 8 hours long? You know?
Yeah. But yeah, it's possible.
Julius, you had something that you wanted to add to it? My question.
Yeah, I think to an extent, I agree with Tyler that it is nowadays, especially in social media. I think it's personally, I recommend that everyone do that. Because anonymously, it could work if you do it. I guess if you come up with a good gimmick or if a good angle on it. Yeah. But if you look at traditionally speaking, right, when you look at the old days, when I used to read Wizard magazine, which was the go-to magazine to find out what was going on in the industry, who was working on what. It did help that I would read the interviews from a lot of these creators to make me want to pick up the book because they came off very personable. The personal brand. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like, I wasn't going to pick up this book, but after reading this interview, this guy's pretty funny. He's pretty cool. I'm going to check it out now because he sounds passionate about what he's doing and what he's going to deliver when the book is ready to be released to the public. So I think that now, considering that social media has democratized the whole access thing, I think it's important to show your face and to talk about your project. And to really showcase how excited you are about the book you worked on, so that way that it could spread to the person who doesn't know who you are. That's number one. Has no right to trust you, with your first work because they don't know who you are. They're taking a risk spending $20, $30 on your crowdfunding campaign, or if you pay out of pocket, you could do the Amazon or the print on demand services. You still have to go out there and sell yourself. If you don't do that, then the people are not going to go get your book.
And this is like one reality that, like, I'm going to say this, and if people watch this, they're going to go, and this is why we hate Tyler, is that, like, number one, personal brand is probably, like, the most important thing that you can have currently, in my opinion, the world. Like, right. One of the things that I'm currently working on right now, so I'm kind of taking a step back from comics because I'm building this out, is that, like, I have a Drawn Talk, Tyler personal brand. People go, oh,
Right.
Tyler Drawn Talk, he made comics and he's kind of a dick. And then and he talks marketing. I don't have a Tyler Carpenter, he does marketing, like personal brand. And like I want to be known like when nowadays when I'm traveling, a lot of people go, oh, hey Tyler, I saw you did this for so and so, can you come over here and do it for me? And I go, oh yeah, I'm seeing like, oh man, I should have been making like videos about my time at that book publisher and how we scaled it from 10,000 to 1 million. Because then I can have like how those stupid dick videos, how I skip.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I should have those. I should have those, and everyone should and so like right now I'm trying to build something on like how to build a personal brand off of your 9-to-5 job. I'm working on building that. So like one, you should have a personal brand. Now this is the thing that people are not going to like, is that there is potential that people are so entertained by you and what you are that the comic, they're buying the comic because you're giving away all this free content, that they're buying the content purely as a ticket to be part of the show.
Just to be a part of something great, that's with you and stuff like that. I'm part of you now.
Yes, like I followed a YouTuber, his name was Eric. I followed him from when he was 400 subscribers. I was like, this guy's kind of cool and he's putting out some fun videos. He gets to 1 million views and he gets to 1 million subscribers. He does it in a year. He says he's like, I'm gonna do this in a year. He does it in a year, and he sells a hat. He's like he goes, thank you, Mafia. Like that's the community. He goes, thank you, Eric Mafia. And I bought the hat because I was like, I felt like I was part of this journey, and you've entertained me every week for a full year. So I should the least I can do is buy this hat. And so that's then you get the discussion that people go, oh, like they're just selling YouTube merch, and it's like, yeah, well, that's kind of what happens when you have a personal brand, is people are so entertained by you and you're giving them all these hours of free content that in a way they go, hey, I will buy this comic. And what you hope for is that they continue to buy the books and then talk about the books. But there's just there's that potential that people just support you because they like you. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but there is something wrong with that. The creator community.
To an extent. The prime example that I could think of off the top of my head is Eric July.
100%.
Eric July. I used to. I mean, I don't subscribe to the channel anymore because he got rid of the show that got me subscribed to a show to begin with, which was monetizing the haters. That was one of my favorite segments that he used to have on the show, which is he would have one of his haters come on the show and hash it out. As he called it. But it was entertaining. It was very entertaining to watch because, I mean, who doesn't like watching a drama stream from time to time? I do. I mean, that's why I watch movies and TV shows. Oh, yeah. Right? We like the drama. That's why videos that go viral that involve street fighting or arguments, they go viral because I think most of us like seeing a little car crash from time to time. But yeah, his ISOM one garnering $3 million. And say what you will, I know there's talk about that he had investors and whatnot, but that's not the point. The point is that he built up his brand. People liked him because he had a high subscription base on his YouTube channel. And then when you released the book, all those fans who liked him support him because of him.
I think the first ISOM book and maybe even the next 2 releases after that were examples of the ticket to the show.
Right.
And I think now that it's kind of plateaued, where he's like, this is what we're hitting per book. I think now he separated the readers from the buy the tickets people. I think
so. Yeah.
Which I made a video about that 2 years ago and I got fucking blasted. I was like, guys, it's gonna go down. It has to go down, and it will plateau, and then he'll get his true readers, and that's fine. That's okay. People are like, oh, he only made $70,000 on that campaign. I'm like,
I wish I made $70,000.
Yeah,
on that campaign.
Dude, I'm telling you, you would never hear anyone in the publishing industry ever say that. Oh, we only made $70,000 on this book. Publishers are putting out 20 to 30 books a month, hoping that each one of them can make 1,000 or 2,000.
Right.
Like that's how slim the margins are. Like no publishing company will be like, oh my gosh, we only made 70 grand off of this book. I love the stupid indie crowdfunding takes. Oh, they only made 50,000 in the first 2 weeks. Like, you must be struggling. It's like, dude, let that struggle let that struggle hit me. I will.
Well,
I
I will
would
take
love
it.
to be
Well,
struggling that much.
To be fair, to be fair. Now, some of the time when you have, when I see channels like, for instance, screw it, I'll say it, Yellow Flash, for instance, he has a large reach on his channel. He built himself a nice little following and a good amount number. And I feel personally, this is just my own personal opinion.
It should have been bigger.
It should have been bigger, a lot bigger. But it's because, again, sometimes you just go against the grain, and it does bite you in the ass if you're not careful about how you present your brand, which is why I decided to do the show this way, because in this way, it's like, I'm not here to fight with anybody. I'm just here to discuss. Like right now we're talking. Right now we're just having a dialogue, and I'm going to learn something.
Should we fight to get more views?
No,
all right, let's fight. You suck. Everything's terrible. Julius doesn't know what he's talking about. This chat is awful.
Are
we at 70,000 yet?
No, yeah, are we?
Yeah.
And so I think that's where the making fun of comes in. Is like, he should have gotten more number, which is, in my opinion, he should have gotten a higher number. But the fact is, now there's been another shift where, like you said, either you're going to be part of the club or you're going to be the reader. And that first time for Eric July, a bunch of readers were interested to check out. Okay, well, let's see. He spent the good amount of like the past 4 years talking crap on DC and Marvel, how the low quality they are. So let's see if this guy actually can put his money where his mouth is. So they backed it. But then, as we saw in ISOM 2, it went down because a lot of those readers were like, well, I read it, not for me,
Yeah.
But the hardcore fans who like them, they stuck around, which is fine. Again, like you said, Tyler, it's fine. That's what we all want, but it just depends on how you want your brand to be. Now, it's obvious that Eric July, like you said, he just wants to sell the books to his fans, which is fine. But me, I want readers to buy my book. I want readers to come here to the show and hell, let me know what they think of the books that I put out. That's the kind of brand that I want to build up for myself. But again, I like you, Tyler, I suck at marketing and promoting. It's just that's my weakest point in this whole endeavor of mine, is that I never liked marketing to begin with. I never liked sales to begin with, and that includes my life in general. When I used to work at AT&T years and years ago as a salesperson, I hated that freaking job. Even though, looking back, I should have embraced it and learned some tools to trade, so that way I could have used those that knowledge here today, and it could have helped me. But since I kind of now I have to work a lot harder now to push my stuff out there, which is unfortunate.
I would say this though, and like this kind of help. This kind of helped is. What do you like doing? What do you like doing? Like seriously, like Julius, what do you like doing?
What do I like doing?
Yeah, you write. I'm assuming you like writing.
I love writing.
Could you write every day?
I could if
you're full time.
I would if I could.
You would if you could. Okay. What would you say is like the common theme with your comics?
Common theme?
Yeah, common theme with the comics that you make.
Yeah, an individual who overcomes the odds and fights from underneath to make it.
Okay.
Like
What's an example? What's an example?
Kind of like that.
What's an example of like some like 2 or 3 popular media franchises that I might know that like relate to this?
I would say like The Raid.
Okay.
Enter the Dragon.
Okay.
Die Hard.
Okay. Do you like those movies?
Oh, I love those movies. Yeah, they're one of my favorites.
Are there similar comics and books that are like that you also inhale and read?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Inhale.
So like, and then so do you like do you like making YouTube videos? Like, be real. Do you like making YouTube videos?
No.
Okay, perfect. No, perfect. Okay,
No, I don't.
So perfect. So in that case, the marketing strategy that I would say you do is focus more on the writing. And this is, I think, where people one of the things that, and I learned, like, I figured this out 2 years ago and I tested it because someone was like, dude, I'm so sick of that. We have to promote our books on YouTube.
Right.
And I was
right.
like, yeah, I'm only here on YouTube to like build an audience promo, but I'd rather write. So I was like, so I started asking myself, like, is it possible to just write and get shit?
Yeah.
So I created, dude, let me see if I can pull it up. And then I want to show it as an example so that people don't think I'm lying. So,
well, and that's why I was gonna ask a follow-up question, sort of like, it's like, well, is there a certain level of like, personal traits that you need to have in order to market your stuff, like being extroverted and stuff like that? Because the reason why I ask is because, like, for me personally, one of the examples that I always did throughout school was that I don't care for writing. I don't care for putting all the projects together and stuff like that. But I love being and giving the presentations. If you want, you guys, whenever we're into a group setting, you guys do all the
you guys work. I'll be the face of this.
I'll go and present it all. It'll be
Kyle Steve Jobs. He comes
I was about to say Steve Jobs.
I made this. All those Chinese kids are like my project.
But everybody was okay with it because they hated going up on stage and giving the presentation, and that's what I thrived on. So that's the reason why it's like, okay, you do all that stuff, I'll just go up here and I'll do all the talking bits, and then we'll get an A+ that way. So that's the reason why I feel like there'd be like that sort of dichotomy in like comic books for people.
So I just shared my screen. This is kind of, I would say the solution. Like we always say, if you're extroverted, go into sales. If you're introverted, go into marketing. And if you can do both, you're golden. So I created a website called the Webtoonist, and I should probably have kept doing this, to be honest, but I wanted to do it as an experiment for a month. And so what I did was I started its own Twitter account. I'm only going to write about Webtoon content. I'm not going to make a single video. I only want to tweet and write blogs on this website and newsletter content. The goal of everything I write. So if I read something, I write about it. If I read some news thing, Look is on Webtoon is first across 10 billion views. So I wrote an article about this thingy. I then, did we miss an opportunity with the Get School discourse? And I wrote my opinions on that, kind of like how you would have like YouTube drama. Right. I wrote out my thoughts on here, and I only promoted it on like a Twitter account that had like 3 followers, and I'm getting discussions and I'm getting people talking and I'm getting people, because this is Substack, by the way. And people are subscribing. I, in that 2 months, garnered 300 subscribers.
Wow.
Onto this email addresses. I posted this, like, what happened, like, want to experience the Korean culture. I found this Webtoon. I contacted the creator on Instagram. Hey, I wrote this article about your Webtoon. They shared it. I got like 20 subscribers onto this website. Wow. And so like the question is then, so like I told writers like, hey, like, what if you just didn't have to make videos? Like, you still have to use some sort of social media to get people over, like Twitter or Instagram. But this is an example, and I did this for a month. I garnered 300 subscribers. I haven't done it in a year and a half, so the subscribers are now down to 100 because everyone started unsubscribing. But this is a Substack. It's 100% free to put this up. We had community discussions. I had like this like Canvas Canvas highlight. So like, because there's 2 parts of Webtoon, the indie side and the professional side. So my goal was to like post all these. I hired someone to like every like week they had to post 3 Canvas articles, and then I never posted them, but they're there in the drafts. And then
to be fair, I always hated that when professors always says, "Oh, you must comment on three people's things for it to count," and then everybody would basically just go and write the exact same thing over and over again. It's like, "Yeah, great job, guys. Oh, I really love that one section," and then the next person says, "Oh yeah, great job, guys. I really like that one section."
So like with just my writing and only posting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I only posted 6 articles in those 2 months. I garnered 300 email subscribers off of a brand new on a brand new Twitter account. I don't even know what this is at this point. So like to me that's a viable strategy to garner followers. And then now, like, let's say I was a webtoon creator. Now all my fucking readers are webtoon people. So maybe in the Canvas section, I go, "Hey, new series, it's mine."
Yeah.
And then they read it. They know I'm getting, and I can throw mine in every like 10 posts.
Okay.
Or like top 10 ones to read. Number 3 is mine.
I mean, hey, it's your thing. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah. So when people are talking about like, like, do I have to do YouTube or do I have to do TikTok? I go like, no, there are other ways that you can gain a following on the internet. Like you can write, you can write and gain a following. Which is like this is something I'm super like believing in right now, because I'm currently building out a new Substack. And because I'm like, I don't want to film all these stupid YouTube videos where I'm like, this. Like I would rather just tweet and tweet and like write some stuff.
Now I have to ask you, Tyler.
Yeah.
How are you writing these articles? Are you purposely pushing buttons to get people to interact and react to you, or are you being authentic in your thoughts and in your thought process?
I am 100% being authentic. So there's 3 ways that I think you have to come across with people. Like when you create your content, no matter what, you have to pick one of the content that you make has to hit one of these 3. It can't hit all 3. It can't hit 2. It can only hit 1. So the first one is like maybe you do an authentic post. Hey guys, I'm eating hot dogs and I hate mustard. That's not going to get a ton of views, but for the people who follow you, they're going to get a glimpse into who you are. Who you are. The second bit is
crazy person, because
like, this guy sucks. Those can either go well, or like people go, "Oh, he doesn't like mustard, like screw him." And the next one is authority, where you're saying, "Hey, here's something that I know that you don't." And so then you can come off of that. And those are there to either grow a following, or those are there to just once again solidify like who you are as a person. But then the third one is growth. Is like this piece of content is used to grow my audience. And that's kind of where that's where this came in, where Get Schooled was going through a bunch of viral discussion points on the internet. And I'm like, I have some thoughts, and I jumped on that trend. So like these ones grew my audience, and then after that they come over and read these ones. You see? So like you have to have a mixture of both. It doesn't have to be negative. You don't have to be negative things, but they do have to be things that they do have to be trends that you can jump on, have an opinion on, be authentic on. Authentic is key. So like if people like that's why like during the whole Comics Broke Me thing, people like were like, you need to apologize. And I was like, I'm not apologizing. This is what I believe.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And I was like, this is what I believe to my core. And I'm not going to apologize. And I probably lost so many opportunities. I mean, I lost a publisher and I lost a ton of friends. And at the end of the day, my Kickstarters went up after that, because my core following was like, hey, this guy like really stands on what he believes in. And it's a growth moment. It was also a huge like unfollow moment, but
Yeah.
at least I was being authentic. So I think like that's how you have to work social media. You have to have growth posts, growth content, authority content, and like this is who I am content, and understand like the results that you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Like you saying that you like a hot dog is not going to grow you, but it might solidify your base a little more because they know more about you.
Right. That's a good point.
Until you go and come out, the next week and say, well, I wasn't saying about mustard. I don't like Dijon mustard.
Yeah. Well, dude, what might happen? What might happen is your core followers go like, "What, you don't like ketchup?" And maybe you go, "I just haven't found the right ketchup brand." And then you get you tell your followers, what ketchup brand should I get? And then you make a content around that. It's still not going to grow you, but it's going to solidify them even more.
Yeah.
And then they go, oh, like Tyler tried my ketchup, idea.
Yeah.
And now I'm even more of a hardcore follower of Tyler.
But then he didn't try my other ketchup idea. So that means he hates
fuck
me
him.
because he didn't take my suggestion.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's one of those things where you can't win them all, and I think that's another factor that whenever I have anyone ask me about like, hey, what, I'm thinking about doing my own comic book, I'm thinking about doing my own thing, whatever the case may be. That's the first thing I always tell them. So you can't win them all. You're always going to have someone who's going to hate you, who's going to hate your book, and they're going to let it be known. And you know what? Grow a thick skin because it's going to happen. And just brace yourself for it. And so, that's really good. That's really good advice, actually, because that's it's one of those things where I struggled with for a long time, especially when I got back into the game of making comics, especially when I wanted to really pursue producing comic books, and I realized, okay, going through the traditional route that used to be the thing back before social media even became a thing, which was I make a book, I pay out of pocket, submit it to Image or whichever publisher takes blind submissions, and you hope for the best. Those days, I feel, I mean, you may agree with this too, Tyler, is that they're gone. Those days are gone. The option is still there, but that's not the only option you have anymore. Now you can build, start something, build it up, and then get to the point where maybe you don't want the Eric July money. Maybe you're okay with the 15K or the 10K every time you pull out a book, but the goal is to go up.
Correct.
Right. Like you said, right. Every new project should be a little higher than the last because that shows growth to your readership. And
For
I think that's the for sure. I think every indie creator has that goal, but a lot of them for some reason don't like to admit that. I don't know why. Maybe they want to remain humble or something. But
here's the thing as well. It's because we've romanticized the starving artist.
Yeah, I think so.
And I'm just like why are we glorifying the starving? Like that's a big reason why I got like canceled during the hashtag comics broke me, is because there was just so much romanticism on the starving artist, and I was just like I threw out my opinion, and I was just like, yeah, but like they didn't have to be a starving artist. Like they made bad decisions, not on like some of the posts that were going around. But no, I think when it comes to indies, like everyone just has to make their choice. I'm always going to come from the place of like, I want to own my work and I want to keep as much of the money as possible.
Right. Yeah.
And people will go, oh, well, when I go to a publisher, they're going to market my book. I'm like, they will for a limited amount of days. And once your book has hit the peak it was, like it's done. Cause like I would have authors message me, hey, how come you're not marketing my book anymore? It's like, because your book came out in March and 10 other books came out in April. And now I'm onto those. And I can't market your book forever because we've already hit your sales stride. It's over. Like I got as much as I needed in the first 3 months. Like at this point, if you want more sales, you either market it or you write me another book to push them. Right. So then I can market it and go, hey, look, there's book 1 and book 2. And another reality kind of like with the whole traditional publishing thing is like, and this does suck what I'm about to say, is that quality sometimes isn't the most important thing when it comes to a publisher. A lot of it's follower account. I've given this I've told this story before. When we would do the acquisitions for books, I was like advocating this book. I was like, guys, this book is so freaking good. I've read it 3 times. It is that good. I want to publish it. Well, we had to pick the influencer with 200,000 followers because I knew that was a guaranteed sale. And to be fair, that's just what had to happen because it's a business. I had sales goals. If I don't hit my sales goals, I could lose my job. So I'm gonna pick the influencer who the book is shitty, but I know I'm gonna sell like $5,000 or $6,000 copies over the guy who's gonna probably sell 500 copies.
And that's the unfortunate thing about today's world too, is that that's important. And I remember I forgot who it was who told me, it was someone I spoke to when I got back into the game. Before I got back into the game, that's what it was. I joined the book club, my local book club, and went to one of the meetings where it was talking about, growing your brand, selling your book, right? And the host of that talk during the Q&A, somebody asked him about about social media and everything, and he did mention that very thing. And this was like about 5-6 years ago when he said, no, social media is huge. If you don't have a large social media following, you could have the next Godfather in your computer. It won't matter, because if the publisher sees that you have 100 followers, they're not going to pick you up because they can't sell it to the people, to the person or the people who have like 15K, 20K followers, because at least there you could get 1,000 people maybe buying your book the first day it comes out.
There was like controversy on Book Talk because there was this dude, he was beautiful, and he started his account he started his account and it was just this dude, very manly, muscular, and he'd be like, hey besties, I've been reading this book, let me tell you about it. And he's all good looking. Gets to 170,000 followers in 3 months, and he's offered a book deal, a 2-book deal by Simon and Schuster. Wow. And so, like, to me, and everyone and all the authors on TikTok, like, what? And he didn't even he'd never written a book. He didn't have a manuscript. He didn't even have a manuscript. He just like, they just went like, and everyone was so mad that like all these indie authors, like, I've written 10 books and no sales, and you know, I just remember being in those acquisitions meetings. I just remember scrolling through Instagram and going, yo, this person's got 50,000 followers. They've never read it. They've never written a book. Hit them up. Hey, you have 50,000 followers. You make cupcake. You make cupcake content. Do you want to make a cupcake cookbook? You've never written a book. You probably never thought about writing a book. All you've got to do is send me the pictures and the recipes. We'll do the rest. Like we would just do that. And it's like, I'm trying to get to these people before someone else does.
Right.
And it's just and like just those 5 years in that, like it sucked. Like it sucked being behind the curtain and knowing that I'm playing this game that I don't like, but I've got to hit my sales goals. I've got to put food on my table, and I'm having to tell like this professor who's put their heart and soul and 10 years of their life into their book and going, I can't take this because I can't guarantee sales. Even though I have read your manuscript 3 times and I'm in love with it, I just can't. I can't convince anyone else with data that this is going to sell. Whereas I know that this girl with 200,000 followers, who we have to almost rewrite the entire book for her, will make money.
Wow.
You know, and it's just sucks. I mean, I went to a fiction convention, and it was all these fiction acquisition people from various publishers. One of the guys was like, we won't even look at the manuscript unless you have 20,000 followers. And I went, holy crap. Like that's harsh. I was like, that was harsh. Like, and it was from like a big name publisher, and I was like, "Oh, what the? Okay, you don't say that." I was like, it was one of those like, don't say that out loud. Like maybe just keep that internally.
Right? Yeah.
But said the quiet part out loud.
Yeah, but then at that point, the questions changed from like, you know, should you do a 3-act, 5-act to, well, how do I get followers? Then all these conventions are become, well, how do I get followers? Then it's a horrible world.
So you have 2 roadways then. One is you build up your personal brand, you get those follower numbers up, and then you could find the back door in case you are secretly an author, right? Yeah. Maybe you're secretly an author, right?
An author, you didn't even realize it.
Yeah, and you just like, you know, you know what, screw it, I'm going to focus on this, and then when I get my chance, boom, drop the manuscript in the lab, when I get a chance.
But no matter what, the common denominator between both of those roads is you still have to have a following. You still have to market yourself.
Right.
Like no matter what, it's it's inescapable. Like the term "build it, they will come." No, if you got to build it, and then you have to shout with your freaking lungs, "It's here!" And every day you have to tell people it's here, and convince people that you're here and you're worth giving a shot. And it's tough. And I think a lot of creators, they get scared. They might think like, oh, there's no reason why I need to have this. Like, there's a creator that we both know, and I was like, I'm surprised that you don't have a website. And they're like, oh, I don't need a website for 2 comics. I'm like, no, you don't just have 2 comics. You have 4 comics. You have 2 digitals, and you have 2 physicals, and you could easily be selling those digitals in your sleep. So why, and like you're funneling people over so they don't have to wait for the next Kickstarter to buy it. They can buy it right now. And I'm surprised that the person hates me so much. So they're like, so, but like, that's just how creators think is they're so kind of small-minded when it comes to like marketing, because there's a lot of ego in it. And one thing I've learned in marketing is you have to have a huge level of confidence that your thing's gonna work, and you have to allow your ego to get crushed. And I mean,
for sure,
crushed. Yeah, I mean, like, I spent $50,000 last year on a campaign, and we made 0 money. And I lost that client naturally.
Right.
And it was just like, he's like yelling at me, and what am I supposed to be like? Like, oh well, this is your fault. I was like, I took some big swings, and it didn't hurt. But what's great is we figured it out, and now like they're back on as a client, and we're actually getting the money. But like that took some humble. Like they're like, hey, like we kind of want to try you again. I'm like, oh, I don't even know if I want to, because I fucked you over last time, but sure. And then it's like, okay, like what did I do wrong last time? Let's not do that. But then you have to tell yourself you did something wrong. You messed up. Like I messed up on my YouTube channel, Draw and Talk. And it's really sad that it's kind of dead. It's like I don't want to fight with people. I don't want to make all this content. I don't want to be like, I can't believe this person said this on Twitter and they're so stupid for it. Like, I don't want to make that content. But I posted a video about the whole Rob Hunter thing on Indiegogo. Boom, like 700 views. Next video. These are the 5 Batman comics that I freaking love. 60 views. Like struggling. And it's like, I want to make more of that content, but people don't want it. And so on that channel, because I made a separate channel. I didn't tell anyone about it for a year, and I'm just like, these are the books I'm reading, I love, and I've crossed like millions of views on that channel. So I'm like, I should spend more time on that one. But like, people know me as Draw and Talk, so those are the mistakes. Those are the mistakes I've made in my branding in comics, and I'm trying to figure out how to rectify them still.
Well, I think it's just a consistency thing, It's just like, if you're consistently doing it, over and over again, you're getting better at it. And then more importantly, like we talked about too, is just like your integrity, and and trying to again, humble yourself and say, you can't be everything all at once at every single moment at the time. There's things where it's like, okay, I need to focus on this section, and I need to focus on this, and sometimes it's not going to work. But
and you're just learning along the way. I mean, you're just learning along the way. Like, I wish that I had learned about this Substack thing, and that you can grow a following just writing. Otherwise, I probably would have spent every single day just writing Substack stuff and growing email. I would have rather grown email list followers over Twitter followers.
Well, which was easier to do, the Twitter or the Substack?
The Twitter, but the Substack people will be more hardcore because they gave you their emails.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
So
and also interact with you more too, I imagine.
Correct. Yeah, and God forbid Twitter goes down, I can always have the Substack emails.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just things you learn. Like, I'm always learning. Every single day. I'm not perfect.
So you mentioned email list. How important are email lists in the modern times in terms of promoting yourself and your books?
Have you heard of the email list, The Hustle?
The email list, The Hustle? No.
Yeah, it's an email newsletter called The Hustle. I just want to make sure I don't throw in The Hustle. Okay, perfect. I didn't want to give like the wrong number. The Hustle is an email newsletter. It sold for $30 million.
Wow.
Really?
The Morning Brew is an email newsletter. It sold for $75 million. So that should say everything on, is email important? Right. The Substack, Right with AI, brings in almost $2 million a year annually on their newsletter. So like when you like in indie comics, we're kind of so insular on what we're talking about. It's either drama or what we're reading or drama. And I don't really I see it every now and then. I see those posts, but to me, like my YouTube feed is business stuff. And so, when I find out, wait, this Substack is bringing in 3 million annually, and I'm on Substack, and I'm not bringing in $3 million annually. Like for some creators, it's like, oh, I can't do that, or I don't want to do the work. And for me, it's like, okay, I'm on Substack. What am I doing wrong?
Right.
And how do I do this? When I hear that the Hustle or Morning Brew are selling, like imagine someone's like, hey, I want your email newsletter and I'll pay you $80 million for it. Give it to me.
Seriously.
Oh, and by the way, like these are started by guys, like just guys who are like, I love this topic and I'm going to write about this every day. And then they get subscribers. Then eventually they start hiring more writers to do more content. And then someone goes, I want 80 million. And you go, yeah, have it. Like there you go. So yeah, to me, email is like the most important thing. And kind of going back with strategy, like that's why, like, that creator who I'm like, why aren't you just selling your digital books on a website? Because then you're getting emails. You're growing that email list in your sleep. People go, Tyler, why do you have like 4 free comic book PDFs? You could be making money on them. I'm like, I don't care if I make money off of those books. I'm going to make the money off the next ones. I want emails. That's what I want.
Freddie, not Samantha, is asking, how do you protect your IP on Substack?
I don't know what they mean by protect their IP, but to me, like, everyone's so romantic about their IP. No one wants to steal your IP. It's not good.
Wow, just rip that Band-Aid right off.
My IP's not good. Like no one, like everyone's like, oh, my idea is so good. It's not. Like people think that people are
people said it was. So
people think that they're gonna people think that if you tell them your idea, they're gonna steal it. People like their ideas more than they like yours. Julian, you could tell me about like the best comic idea you have and go on for an hour, and I'll be like, yeah, so I don't care about it as much as you do, right? Because it's yours. Right, so yes, you know what? Someone take the growth of Megafist IP. Like, try to do it. It'll have it. You know what? They'll go, wow, that one has less heart and all this stuff. It's like, yeah, because they lost me on it. They lost the creator.
Right.
So to me, I'm like, who cares?
No, that's a good point. That's a very good point. It's almost like when I don't know if you've ever seen the show The Boondocks. Yeah. So when Aaron McGruder left the show, and I started watching the new season without him, the show was not the same, like at all. Yeah, at all. I mean, the characters were still there, the voice actors were still there, but
it's not the same.
It's not the same. Yeah, the charm that it had was completely gone from the show. Because you're right. Because the creator, the one who sat down and figured out what he wants, was gone. And you're right.
And people notice that. It happened with Community, it happened with Rick and Morty. Those are Dan Harmon. They try to reboot 24 without Jack Bauer, and it's like, guys, it's you missing the special sauce. And it's not that sometimes it's not just the character, it's actually the person behind it. That's why, like, to me, the best Batman stories are the ones that know that the creators know that it's not them that's the sauce, it's Batman the character.
Right.
That's why Scott Snyder and that's why I like Scott Snyder. To me, I think people love Batman because they're like, he gets Batman. And then, like, I personally am not a big fan of Tom King's Batman. And I go, that's Tom King's like, what if I was Batman? And I'm like, dude, what if you weren't Batman? Like,
what if Batman was Batman?
Dude, if you were Batman, like, you would have killed yourself, which is what you told me like every issue for 75 issues. I have so much hate for Tom King. except for his Mr. Miracle. No, Vision. His Vision run. I think that's one of the greatest comics.
That's what
I've ever-
everyone always speaks fondly of that specific.
Do you know why? It's because he writes like a robot, and he got to write like a robot in Vision. That's honestly why.
The opinions
But the shoe
of Draw and
fits.
Talk are his only, and they don't reflect.
Yeah.
Lucid Comic
That's just
production.
me. That's just me. I think Tom King writes like a robot, and when he wrote Vision, it was perfect because Vision's a robot.
Android.
So then, and what?
Android. Isn't he an android?
Yeah,
Yeah, there we go.
there you go. I agree with Tyler.
See,
with Tom King.
that's that authentic growth content.
So then, to wrap up, because we've got, wow, we're almost an hour and a half. Time flew.
When you're having fun.
So then, overall, for the indie, now let's specifically. Let's look at the indie sphere. So the best bet for indie creator going forward, or right now, if you're in it, is build up your email list, build up your personal brand, be it writing, like you suggested right now with the Substack, or if you do videos like right now, Kyle and I, we do live streams, but I have been thinking about the kind of other content I want to produce going forward, because I do want to grow this channel a bit more, and I know that the YouTube algorithm requires videos, actual videos for you to be pushed out.
Pre-recorded,
Yeah, so I have to look into that, because I do want to grow my brand. That's number one. And as much as I don't like making videos, I understand this is the nature of the beast currently. This is it.
Yes.
Without this, it's going to be a lot harder. You can still make it, but it's going to be a lot harder depending on how you approach it. So, any advice you want to give to indie creator in terms of like, I guess, practical? Let's be practical about it. Without the whole personal opinion. Like, what would be the practical approach to building your brand if you want to make this into a living? Because that's essentially what I feel that's what every indie writer's goal is doing.
They want
to,
it, Which, by the way, that's a 1% dream.
Right.
That's a 1% dream. But yeah, if you can do it, fantastic. I interviewed one of the writers of Hawkeye. I forget what his name is now, Matthew Rosenberg, and I was like, he was like at the time writing X-Men, Punisher, Hawkeye, Free Fall, and I was like, so you have 6 roommates and you ate ramen this morning? And
what?
He was like, yeah, and I'm like, yeah, so I don't want to do traditional comic publishing. I was like, so you scared me away on that. Yeah, so I think practical advice is, I would say, to grow if you think about growing your audience, to me, everything you need to do needs to be a funnel, and that funnel should be to get people's emails and then eventually sell. So what can you do? First, you need to learn how to sell. There's 5 ways to sell. You can either do cold reach out. Each of these have pros and cons, by the way, but we don't have to go into them. Cold reach out, like you private message people, go check out my show. You should follow me. Have fun with that. Have fun with
that. Zero-sum game.
Have fun with that. Second one is work with like an affiliate. So like maybe work with a publisher. The pros of that is you can kind of maybe jump on an established name. Cons of that, there's a trade-off. Most of that's money stuff. Third way to sell, paid advertising. If you're not good at it, you might as well just set money on fire. I've done that so many times, and I've set so much money on fire, I don't do it. Fourth one is create content. The pro, it's free. Anyone can do it. And there's algorithms that'll benefit you. The con is the time it'll take for you to learn how to do it well.
Right.
So if you want to do YouTube, it can't just be if you're going to do YouTube, you need to know that the most important thing besides making a good video is a good topic, a good title, and a good thumbnail. If you can't make a good thumbnail, don't even make the video. And if you can't come up with a good topic, title, and thumbnail, don't even make the video. That's like the biggest advice for anyone on YouTube. If you can't do those 3, don't even seriously, make the thumbnail before you make the video. And if you're like, that thumbnail is going to get clicked on, now I'll make the video. Mm-hmm. Fourth one, and then that's just content. You got to learn how to make good content. So study how to do that. That could take time and a lot of trial and error. And then the 5th way to sell is word of mouth. And that's just really hard and unpredictable. But if you can do that, that's the strongest way to sell. I would say to indies, pick the content route, take your lashings, take the embarrassment. If you're okay with looking stupid for several months, maybe a year, you're going to be farther ahead than everyone else who was scared to even take the leap.
Right.
Second thing I would do is, if you don't have a website and you don't want to get like a Shopify or spend money on a Wix or whatnot, open up a Gumroad. It's free. You can put up your physical and digital books on there. They're going to take a percentage of each sale, but that's a way for you to start selling for free, is open up a Gumroad store. And then at that point, I would open up a place to like start sending those emails. I personally love Substack because it's free. It doesn't have all the amazing features that you would have with typical email marketing platforms, but it's still good for what it's free. It's good for what it is. MailChimp has a ton of features. The moment you hit 1,000 subscribers, you're going to start paying $10 a month, $100 a month. At one point, for one of the email things that I was using, we were spending $1,200 a month to like run our email newsletter. We were making $50,000 a month on that, so like it was fine. But like, and it has all these features to help us make that money. We're just talking about free practical stuff.
Right.
Start with a Substack. And heck, people can make millions of dollars on Substack, I've learned. So learn how to do that. And I guess the next practical thing I would do, and this sounds really fucked up, is stop listening to what some other creators are telling you to do if they are not on that same path as you. So if when I was telling creators like, hey, I'm trying to get into marketing and I want to make a YouTube channel to start marketing myself, I got laughed at by like the 30 creators I was in a Discord with. They're like, dude, that is so stupid. We should be writing our scripts. Well, now none of them are making comics anymore. And so if I listened to, and then, I was making YouTube and I realized, I should do reader content, started doing that. And then someone derailed me and took me off that path. Like there's just going to be people who don't get it. And I'm still trying to learn this, but like, don't listen to people who are going to derail you from your path. Neil Gaiman has an analogy like the mountain. Like, keep your eye on the mountain. Right. Don't let anyone derail you off of that goal. And if your goal is, I want to do this, if I want to have a really good email list to sell my stuff, then don't be watching the EBS versus Eric July battle on YouTube for 4 hours. Go watch 4 hours of how to grow your email list on YouTube and start taking notes on that. Don't watch 5 hours of Trash Cast. Go watch 5 hours of how do I make a good YouTube thumbnal.
Right.
I constantly learn the stuff.
Yeah. So in other words, your advice is try to become a business person. Yeah. Essentially,
exactly. Like,
and I get. Go ahead, finish your thought. I'm sorry.
No. I was just saying that, and you don't have to be like this, like entrepreneur. There are things that you just can learn how to do and implement them, and they will work at some point if you do them over and over and over again. Like, they will work. You post good enough YouTube videos that have good titles and topics, eventually you will hit something. And sometimes all you need is like one good video to elevate everything else.
I've seen that firsthand for sure. So then that's the business part of it is what I think is what really irks a lot of indie creators, is because it does require work. It really does. And as much as I would love to just spend all my time creating and send it off to people to produce it, the reality is I don't have the resources for that. So I have to put on that hat. I think a lot of us do, especially if you want to make this long term. That's it. So then you just have to kind of put on that. Once you do the creative stuff, I would imagine you got the book done, you did it, it's ready to go. All you have to do is just send it to printers. If once you're ready to start a store, it's time to take off that creative hat and not put on the business hat and try to get some revenue coming in.
And the hard part is, like, a lot of us are doing this at night after our day jobs, and you just gotta split when people are like, well, Tyler, if you know everything, why aren't you rich? It's like, I'll tell you why, because for 12 hours a day, I'm working my day job. And then at night, I have to choose which hat, the artist hat or the business hat. And I have a lot of books. So the artist hat lately has to be on there more. And then when it's the business hat, I have like maybe an hour to do something. Whereas with day jobs, it's like, yo, Tyler, you scale this company to like $50,000 like a month. It's like, yeah, I had 12 hours a day to do it. I have 1 hour a night, a week, maybe to
do all the other stuff.
To do all the other stuff. And sometimes it's just with less resources. And so it's really picking like what to do, like make maybe one good Substack newsletter, like one really well researched one good, and then make one really good YouTube. Don't make 5 shitty YouTube videos. Make one good video, one well researched, one good YouTube. Like sometimes people are just in the weeds of like quantity. Quantity can help in social media content, but pick where that quantity comes. Do quantity of Twitter posts. Those are easy, low effort. You can get high return, but there's no way you can do two good YouTube videos a day or one good YouTube video a day without having a team. Or if you are able to do that, you're not working on your comics then.
Right.
So you gotta have a balance. And then ultimately it just sucks. I'll just say this. It sucks. Like it sucks. I want to make more comics. I want to spend more time drawing.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this, I haven't done a lot of business stuff and Draw and Talk in the last year and a half because one, day job and building the business I'm doing, but then also just I have so many comic projects, I just have to spend more time drawing. And I'm kind of seeing my numbers go down because I haven't been doing the business stuff that I spent 7 years religiously doing. I haven't posted a newsletter in like 2 months. That's not good. And so, but it sucks. Like, and I have to find the time to do it. And if you don't do it, you're going to see your numbers go down or whatnot. And then maybe I spend more time on the business, the quality of the comic goes down. It's
right. Yeah.
So like all in all, it just sucks. And you've got to, it's all hard and you just got to be okay with taking your beatings.
Yeah.
So consistency is key then. That's pretty much the way to go going forward.
Content is king. Your queen is going to be consistency. Yeah.
Good point.
It's tough, man.
Yeah, it is tough. It's not easy. You know, as Kirby famously said, comics will break your heart, kid. And it's true to an extent. But if you really love doing this, it's worth the time and the effort.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, I've experienced it. I'm sure you, Tyler, have experienced it with your projects and the other indie creators that I've seen for the past, few years. Also experienced that rush, that high of like, even though I didn't get the numbers I wanted, I still got something, and I could keep going. I could keep going and pushing and see where I can go. But
it's that sense of accomplishment. It's like, okay, I put in all this work, and I ended up doing something. I actually did the thing that I set out to do. Maybe it wasn't, the complete success, rousing success that I imagined it to be. But at least I'm happy of what I put out there.
Yeah, it's a start.
It's a start. And I think that's another thing too. Is like a lot of people can get lost in the weeds and like building up themselves and maybe even getting so far as to getting away from who they truly are just so that they can get more people to interact with them.
Right.
And I think then you kind of lose yourself in it. And then you don't actually come back and you realize how far have I come? I'm talking about things, I'm doing things that I normally wouldn't have done beforehand. But if I'm consistent in what I'm doing and I'm genuine in what I'm doing, then I won't have that happen.
Real quick, do you mind if I share my screen? Well, I know you guys
Sure.
are trying to get out here. I just saw Ollie, someone put like, can you explain again what reader content is? Like, this is my golden era of YouTube. Like as you can see, I did like all these how-tos. I hid most of them, but a lot of how-tos for comics. I then went at this point, I was like, I'm done. I made a Logan Paul thing that didn't really hit and I should have not done it. But I then was like, manga and comics, and then I talked about One Piece, and then starting here I talked about the books I was reading, and 400 views, 500 views, but then 1,000 views, and then still in the 600s, and then another 1,000, and then finally I had one that hit 16,000 views, 10,000, 1,000, 5,000. These, by the way, indie book, those all hit. Then 10,000, 1,000. This one 100,000, 500, 1,200, and then Berserk, Superman, and then someone was like, "Yo, you should talk about Comicsgate," and then it went downhill. It went downhill. So, but like reader content, here's another example: Mullet Man Comics. Okay, he's just talking about the books he's reading. 167,000 views, 1.8 million views, 184,000 views, 371,000 views. He's just finding a good image from the book as his thumbnail. But listen, think about look, the most vile villain in fiction ever. You're gonna click on that,
right?
Yeah. It's something that poses a question that makes you want to find out.
Yes. The worst thing to ever happen to the thing. What is the worst? What is it? You go to his most popular, I think it's a Spider-Man one. I guess it's this one, the most vile villain ever in comics.
Right.
But then this one's Spider-Man stops holding back, and you're like, oh, and you see the thumbnail, it's gonna answer the question like, oh, what's the most vile thing? This looks like pretty intense. Is he gonna kill that guy? Right. Let me watch the video. Joker tortures a man for years, and you see like that thumbnail, go, oh, that's kind of creepy. What did the Joker do? This is reader facing content. An example of an indie creator who's doing this. He has a Kickstarter about to launch next week. Kova's Lookout. Marvel Cash Cow: The Rise of Scotty Young, 8,000 views. The Wasted Potential of Spawn, 15,000 views. The Black Superhero Paradox, 182,000 views. Like, he's hitting on topics that are like the Invincible Controversy, how to handle trauma in comics, 473,000 views. This is an indie creator. And then an example of someone who kind of does indie and then went more publishing is DD Mark, where his more focus was like, Donadon has the best graphics in manga. I'm better than your favorite artist. Every good artist does this. How to become a popular mangaka.
So that's the authority part that you were talking about earlier, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Hard work won't pay off, but this will. And you go, oh, okay, like what is that thing? And so like they really spent time on their thumbnails, their titles, and this guy now has a publishing deal with Dark Horse.
Interesting. Wow.
So like these are the people that I was following. The Masked Man. I used to like talk with these people during my golden era. This guy has a digital manga that he made one chapter of, and it got 200,000 views. But like, all he's talking about is books that he's reading. The villain that was right all along.
Now, are we talking recaps, or what exactly are we talking here?
This guy will do like maybe not necessarily recaps of the series, but like he'll commentate on it.
Okay.
Like he'll be like, this is what I think about this character. But like, but then going with the writing, he's structuring a story. Like it's a 3-act. Like you're going to write your video as a 3-act. Let me introduce the problem, what people are thinking, and then like my opinion. So you're trying to weave people. It's like writing for a viral video. You're weaving people in. You're doing a lot of you go, Goku might be good, and you go, but what? And then they keep going. So there's a whole side of YouTube of people who are just making this kind of content. Another example is Casually Comics. She is just talking about the stuff that she likes, the books that she's reading. She had Scott Snyder on like the other night, talking about Absolute Batman. Even like, think about this. How did Richard C. Meyer start off? Your boy Zach.
Yeah, he made YouTube videos. Yeah,
he was making YouTube videos about comics he was reading.
Yeah, it's true.
And then he rip them up. So like, there's so you can make. So his problem was he created reader-based content that made people mad. So he was doing it in a negative way. So at some point, if he switches up his opinion, he's screwed. These people are just sharing the stuff that they like. and people are like
It's
and when
funny because
people-
I'm looking at the thumbnails and I'm like, oh, Green Lantern stuff. What's those videos? I want to check those out because I'm a huge Green Lantern fan.
dude, like a video about Red Hood, 2.3 million views. Like how many people know about Red Hood as like normies? You know? So when people say like you can't make positive content and get views, I go bullshit. Here it is. All right, I'll show you guys the one I made. So that I can prove that I did it. Oh, there I am. Okay. So I did this channel for 2 months. I got to 2,000 subscribers. I used a lot of my growth for shorts, but like I just posted some videos like books I was reading, 2,500 views, 3,000. This one sucked, 385 views, but then another 2,000. So I was garnering some people. Then my short, and then I was also doing shorts. This one 2.6 million, 66,000. So like when people say you can't make positive content about the books, I go bullshit. You absolutely can. I can give off a bajillion examples. The question is, are you going to do it?
Right.
And in the indie scene, people will tell you not to because you want to gravitate to the live shows. You're gravitated to the drama. I'm gravitated to the drama.
Yeah.
But like, if you can just put your blinders on and go, no, this is the path I'm going on.
Right. Yeah.
I'm going to do it. Like my golden era of YouTube, I got off Twitter. That's what happened. I got off Twitter and I just was like, I'm only going to look at YouTube and just these 5 people. And I can't talk with anyone. And then someone found me on Discord and then brought me in. And then I went, okay, let's see what's going on Twitter. And like, they said what? Like, that was my problem.
Right.
So that's my advice. Like, I wanted to show people examples. Of
It's
Yeah.
really good because that's exactly what I wanted to, get out of this discussion is that not many people talk about marketing promoting because for the most part a lot of people find it boring, and I was one of them for a long time. I just refused to even study it, research it, because just like you mentioned earlier, people should just buy my book because it's great. I put it out there, but in reality that's not how real life works.
Just
right?
give
As we
me
all know.
Exactly. Just give me the money.
Give me money. I made a book. Give me money.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of factors at play, and that's why I wanted to have this discussion. And since you're the only one that I know that I've seen on Twitter talk about it the most, I thought, well, who better than to come on the show and discuss it?
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I'm no
if
expert.
I know
I'm
someone
no
else,
expert.
I would have had him on too.
For sure. Yeah. I'm no expert, but I try to at least surround myself with good information. And then if I implement it,
Yeah,
great.
for me,
if I don't implement it, it sucks.
For me, like get the information right and sift through it. You don't have to accept all of it. Just take some stuff and take it all in. Process it and go and go. Okay, well, this stuff I don't know. Maybe it's not for me, but this here can work if I
Correct.
really get it. And that's why I don't. Whenever not just you, but anyone out there on Twitter or otherwise puts out a post that speaks with confidence or authority, I just look at it. I always look at it. Doesn't matter. I look at it and I go, okay, let me sift through this and see maybe there's something here I can use that could benefit me, and not take it so personal or like a attack.
Emotionally. I mean, I think one thing that is I'm not nice. People in art, like artists and creators,
Really?
we want to be nice. I'm not.
I wouldn't have ever guessed that.
Yeah, I'm not nice. But you know what I am is I'm kind, and that's where it's different. Where is I'm not nice, but I'm kind in that I am rooting for you. I am rooting for indie creators. Like I wouldn't share it if I wouldn't share. Like I share the stuff I do because I wish that when I had started, someone had told me it like 10 years ago.
Right.
I wish I found out, by the way, that Substack thing, the guy making like $2 million. I found that out 2 days ago. I wish that I had known that 3 or 5 years ago.
Right.
And so if I find that out, it's like, you know what? I could just keep this within myself and say like, fuck you guys. But I love indie creators, and I want to see them succeed. And if they take the advice and they say like I got $10,000 on this Kickstarter because I did A, B, and C, it's like that's fantastic. I love that. And you know, I don't say things the nicest way because that's just not how I am personally, and I don't resonate with that kind of stuff. But I hope that people will just I hope that indie comics, we can be in more discussions where it's like, hey, have you tried this? Did you know that this guy did this? How can we do this? Like, there is money to be made. There are people making money. How do we get it? How come all these YouTubers are making money? How do we get into that?
Yeah.
Right? So no, but I appreciate you guys having me on. Like, I love marketing. I love talking about all this stuff. This is my probably favorite live show I've done this year.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, because
the previous one I did on your show was pretty good too, but I like this one better.
It was definitely interesting. Well,
yeah. and like again, to reiterate, it's just like you. I want other indie creators to succeed as well, and I also realized that unfortunately, a lot of the indie scene we're very, like you said, very insulated. And for me, it's like, well, it's great that I get to connect with you guys, network with a lot of you, but I want readers to come in. I want to convert readers to read not just my books, but also if I see someone's book and I think it's worth more eyes, then I retweet it. I make sure, hey, check this out. You know, this looks really interesting, and hopefully get the cultivation of the culture back up to like, hey, let's try this out. It's and not only that, but also be honest about it too. If something's not working and someone buys it, then it comes with the territory. You got to take the punches because again, it's part of the game. And for me, it's always about weighing right. Is it more negative or is it more positive? If it's more positive, then I'm doing something right. And the rest are just like, maybe it's not their preference, maybe it's not their cup of tea, and that's fine. But if it's more negative, then you got to really look at yourself. Like, okay, am I writing the right stories? Am I even good? Am I even a good writer, you know? Or am I not selling to the right people? And that's where we always have to, you know, look at ourselves honestly. So thank you again for coming on and sharing all that information, because it is important for sure for new working and new indie creators who are thinking about doing it. You know, always gotta be adapting and learning. 100%. Yeah, especially in this time. You know, it's just changes constantly, or just every year it seems like. You know, so we always got to be alert and vigilant when it comes to the new changes that change the landscape. And I mean, things are moving so fast. I have an employee, her name is Jess, she's awesome. And I was like, hey, I have a problem with this. I need you to like figure it out. Like, that's like, you go figure it out. And and then like 2 days later, she goes, hey, I figured it out. And I went, okay, how'd you feel? Like teach me, like I should know how you figured it out. Yeah. Right. And she tells me something that she did with AI. And I went, yeah, so I didn't understand a word you said, but that's cool. That's cool that you did that. And she goes, yeah, and I implemented it with all these other things. I went, okay, so we can't fire you now because no one understands what you just said. So that's good for you. But like, yeah, things are moving so fast. She's like, she's like, this tool came out like a month ago. And I'm like, right. Yeah. I was like, okay, so quick. I'm fucked. So yeah. Well, thankfully, you know, the beautiful thing too about this modern age, especially with AI on the rise, I'm still a believer that nothing will ever trump human imagination. Yes. Nothing. Yeah. That's why your personal brand is the most important, because we're going to start seeing AI influencers and they're going to speak perfectly. They're going to look perfect. People like raggedy people. Like, if you're just like, if you're just like, dude, if you're just like, bro, I woke up and I got like the shit kicked out of me, people are like, oh, okay, that's a real thing. It's like, relatable. You know, no one's going to program their AI to be like, yeah, I have diarrhea. But if you're like, sorry guys, I'm into that. Then, you know, exactly. Like, I went out to dinner with this guy named Ichthus. I've known him on Twitter for like 8 years. I was in Florida, and I was like, hey, we were talking, and I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom. And he goes, oh, so you do have IBS? I'm like, yeah. And I'm probably gonna have to go 5 more times during this dinner. So
Yeah, you just want to be. You got to be more relatable. I always say this. Look at Christopher Nolan. Everyone knows a Christopher Nolan movie because it's a Christopher Nolan movie. He used practical effects, and it's awesome. And everyone goes, "Look how bad that CGI shit movie is."
Right?
Like humans will always like you. I have to believe that even though I use AI every single day, that humans will always win.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that for sure. So, again, thank you, and to the chat, thank you for joining us, and hopefully what you heard tonight was enlightening. Hopefully, if you were struggling with some stuff, hopefully this helped out with maybe some of the obstacles that may come, your way when you're trying to produce or not produce, but market and promote your book. Hopefully, this is a good eye opener for that, so that way you could grow and we could keep this industry going. Thank you, Oli. I appreciate the confidence.
It's all right.
It's all right. He's like, I already knew all this stuff.
To continue with the promoting and everything, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to Drawn Talks channels and his Substacks and all that stuff. Again, we're here to have a conversation. We love talking with everybody, and same with everybody here in the chat. We love reading your comments. We love interacting with you, and that's the whole point of our show, is to making sure that we build this community here. And I think that we love having people on the show and talking to them. So if you want to come on, we're always happy to talk.
Yeah, you always hit me up, and we'll try to pencil you in and discuss, because that's the idea for this show. Like I always say every week, is that I want to get to know the person behind the Twitter account.
Yeah.
Because, we're all human beings. We all have our goals. We all have our insecurities, and that's okay. You don't have to be perfect. No, because no one's perfect. Everyone has their own hangups, and everyone has their own goals and their views and their perspectives. And that's why I like to dialogue, because I could learn something new every day by just having like a fresh perspective that I may have never even thought of, in my 30 plus years alive on this earth. So always welcome. This is a place for dialogue. This is a place for discussion, because at the end of the dialogue, we all gain something from it, as opposed to a debate where it's like, you're the loser and I'm the winner and I'm out.
Yeah.
But a dialogue is
I won.
Yeah, exactly. But a dialogue is, we all share the ideas, and they may clash, because again, we're all different. We all have different perspectives, and that's okay, because at the end of the day, hopefully we all gain something. So, Kyle, any final thoughts before we call it a night?
No, just remember, like we said, as I always say, every single interaction is a new experience, and remember to build those experiences and read more comics.
Sorry, did I say Kyle or did I say Tyler?
I don't know.
I don't know. I thought I heard Kyle, but I don't know.
I don't know.
His is good. Whatever Kyle said, I'll take that too. Read more comics. Read more comics. We need read more comics and tell more people about the comics that you're liking. Yes. I'm so sick of did you guys read how crap this comic was? Like, I'm hearing more about the crap comics that I don't want to read. Tell me about the comic you love so I can go pick that up.
Exactly. Which is what we did. This is what we always do in the beginning of the show, is we always recommend.
Which I love that.
What's what to read. And of course, we didn't do it this week, but normally we do is worth to pick up. And that's the only time when we say no or yes, but we don't bash it. We break it down page by page, panel by panel, and discuss why it's working or why it's not working. And since comic books are $5 a pop, I mean, why not let you know if it's worth your money to pick up at this point?
Or get that or get that global comic subscription. Hit me up and I'll get you $30 off your annual subscription.
There you go. So you heard it here. So hit them up and get that discount, because Global Comics is growing, and I think in a few years it's going to be a big, major thing to be on Global Comics. So
I hope so.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, with that said, guys, again, thank you for joining us. Have a great weekend. Stay safe out there. Like Kyle says, read more comics, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Bye, guys.
On November 27th, 1997, citizens from a small Midwestern town called Carpenter's Bay were shocked to discover that one of their own brutally massacred his family as well as ending his own life on Thanksgiving Day. Dubbed the Thanksgiving Day Massacre, this horrendous crime would forever tarnish the good name of this peaceful town. However, underneath this story lies a dark secret. A secret involving a government cover-up to hide the real story of what happened that fateful day. As the old saying goes, truth is stranger than fiction. Asset 13, The Last Thanksgiving, written by Julius Freeman, art by Greg Warrenchak, available on Global Comics. Evil has a new holiday.